went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes.
And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it.
They're coming all over the place.
It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear word.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes. Those votes.
I still like beer, but I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out.
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is people are sitting at home getting the checks from the government, okay? And this fair share is a bullshit concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people and attacking wealthy people. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people, and this fair share is a bullshit concept.
I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened. People in law and order. People in law and order. People in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt.
Retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves how to take a position. Retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves how to take a position.
The world is actually a small piece of the universe, right?
Across this country, we've seen this new phenomenon lately, chanted at sporting events and on signs. The phrase is, "Let's go, Brandon."
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. Every day it is time for us to agree.
That isn't what it meant.
Well, what did it mean then? Explain.
It meant that it's indicative of low-resolution thinking.
Hello, users, and welcome to another episode of Above It All. This is the morning, sometimes at noon, only on the weekends, program that occupies the space of this particular space, at approximately 10 in the morning every day in my time zone that I live in. I'm sorry for those of you that don't live in my time zone. I'm sure it's really weird listening to me talk about 10 a.m. when you don't live there in 10 a.m. You live somewhere else. So I want to give a quick shout out to all the time zone, those that need, I don't want to use rude language against people that need help with their time zones. So we got a show here lined up. I got a show, folks. It is morning. Well, it's Monday actually. It's also morning. I guess is it morning? I guess it's morning. So it's Monday morning. Double M, and also, it's there was apparently some thing yesterday. I don't really care about that stuff. So I'm sure people are going to be talking about it in the chat, but I don't really care about that kind of stuff. But what I do care about is video games. So I've been playing a lot of video games. I played a lot of video games yesterday. I'm really into. I'm a gamer, folks. I would like to hashtag my gamer story. I was playing some video games. So that was what I was doing yesterday. And I ate a pizza yesterday. Don't worry about me. But I ate a pizza yesterday, and it was pretty decent. It was okay. It was good. It wasn't great. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. Capitalist Day of celebration. My thing is anyone who went to the Super Bowl is an idiot. Again, we're in the middle of a pandemic here. I'm sorry. There shouldn't even be a Super Bowl. I don't like sports. As an industry, I don't like the sports industry at all. Really, in any capacity, I don't like it at all. But like, when you really think about sports, like, I mean, you know, like, a bunch of rich billionaires, like, own teams and they trade players. I don't know. The whole thing is just weird. I was playing Castlevania Soten yesterday. What else happened? That's a good game to play. For sure. Good ass game to play. I agree with that game. Eminem took a knee. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter when I woke up. I don't care. I mean, like, it's okay. Now what? I don't know. Like, it would have been better to, like, say some radical propaganda on the microphone, in my opinion. But, you know, whatever. This, you know. But anyway, I don't care about that stuff. But anyway, what I do care about are 7 things you should do every day if you have prediabetes, folks. This is something I talk about a lot on the show, is that 88% of Americans have a form of metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is one of the leading precursors to prediabetes, which of course leads to diabetes. So if 88% of Americans have, you know, basically pre-diabetes, you know, this is let's study up, folks. I'm doing more food stuff. I'm reading food articles online, and some of them I'm sharing with you. So let's take a look at these tips. These are things that I've said a lot. According to the American Diabetes Association, 96 million Americans 18 years and older have had prediabetes in 2019. 96 million Americans. That's a lot. It doesn't mean you'll develop type 2 diabetes, especially if you follow a treatment plan and make healthy lifestyle choices. For some folks with prediabetes, moderate lifestyle changes can actually bring blood sugar levels back to the normal range, which can help prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes. Below are 7 healthy habits you could do daily that are recommended by registered dietitian nutritionists, RDNs, who specialize in prediabetes. So these are things you should do regardless of whether or not you're pre-diabetic. It's just that the marketing of this article is marketing toward those with prediabetes. But again, 88% of Americans, according to a 2019 study, have metabolic syndrome, which is essentially pre-diabetes. It's what leads to it. But anyway, it's one of many things. Of course, obviously, I'm not a doctor. 1, fill half or more of your plate with non-starchy vegetables. So one of the problems here, right off the bat here that I'm seeing is that there's the implication of a plate. Like, do Americans eat out of plates anymore? Like, do we actually cook food and then put food on a plate in, like, portions? Let's be honest here. Like, most of the time people eat out of, you know, packages. They eat out of, like, boxes or, like, plastic wrap or whatever. Let's be honest here. Like, do Americans even use plates anymore? Once you do this, you'll find you'll never be hungry eating moderate-sized portions of starchy foods and protein-rich foods, says Jill Weisenberger, MSRDNCDCES LMAO. What the fuck? I mean, like, what kind of title is that? Like, imagine saying that at a fucking party. Like, her name alone, Weisenberger, like, that's already a little lengthy if you ask me. But hello, my name is Jill Weisenberger, MSRDNCDCESCH. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm sorry, what? Creator of the free guide, Can I Eat That with Prediabetes? The non-starchy vegetables are low calorie, low carb, and very filling. Plus, they're jam-packed with health-boosting phytonutrients that act as antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Does anyone even know what the fuck any of this means? Like, let's be honest. Like, I'm sorry. No offense to this person. This person seems great, and this seems like a really good book or guide, I guess. And the work is really good. It's just that I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, that's my problem. So manage your stress. Now, this is a big, important factor, is stress. A lot of people don't understand. And this is why I tie diet to capitalism all the time, folks. Diet, is one of the main ways that capitalists kill you. They try to control you. They try to manipulate your health. And, that leads you to being in the hospital system, paying higher insurance rates, going to the hospital more often, going to the doctor more often for more procedures that all stem from diet. So again, diet is a huge problem. But again, capitalism what it does is it basically gives you no free time. You're not allowed to look up how to free yourself from bad dietary habits. You don't have time for it. And that's one of the big things as well, is you don't have time, and you're also stressed all the time because you don't have time. I'm stressed because I have too much time sometimes. So sometimes we're just stressed because we're fucking stressed, okay? God damn it. But if you want to have a healthy lifestyle when it comes to eating and you want your body to perform at peak ability, you got to manage your stress. How do you do that? Well, let's read. Lauren Harris Pincus, MSRDN, founder of and author of blah, 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 explains that chronic stress can wreak havoc on health and well-being by hindering your immunity. Right, so we know stress is bad. So we know stress is bad. What do we do about that? Make time for self-care by choosing a relaxing activity you enjoy, preferably off of screens like knitting, painting, word puzzles, listening to music, or reading a good book. I would recommend journaling. I would recommend that as a way to lower your stress, because not only are you getting off of the screen, but you're also working on your mental health as well. So again, I could do several hours of just material on that. Get your ZZZ''S. Did you know that not getting enough sleep not only makes you cranky, but it makes you less likely to stick to your healthy eating goals? In addition, Weisenberger says this actually messes with your body's response to insulin. So again, one of the big problems, again, with capitalism is you're stressed out all the time and you don't sleep enough. Why? Well, you have two options. Either you get sleep or you watch a movie for once and enjoy your life, or you play a video game and enjoy your life, or whatever. And then you get 5 hours of sleep and then you wake up and you're like, and then you got to do the fucking cycle all over again. Folks, I need to tell y'all, sleep is important. Again, I'm planning on doing a dreaming show, so if you want sleep to be entertaining, I recommend lucid dreaming. If you want that, it's a reason to look forward to sleep every day. I'm going to do a dreaming show sometime soon-ish, in the next month, maybe. But again, sleep is important. Eat your fruits and veggies. So again, folks, this is a big one. According to the CDC, only 1 in 10 Americans consume the recommended 5 to 9 servings of fruits and veggies per day. These foods are brimming with nutrients and fiber and are low in calories. Plus, according to Harris Pincus, the antioxidants, blah, blah, blah. Okay, 1 in 10 Americans eat vegetables. Now, we know that 95% of Americans don't eat the daily recommended minimum amount. So the daily recommended amount of fiber is a range. 95% of Americans do not hit the minimum end of that range. So it's like, again, it would be one thing if they hit the minimum but didn't hit the recommended or the maximum or whatever, right? There isn't really no maximum, but that'd be one thing. But they don't even hit the minimum. 1 in 10 Americans consume the recommended amount of fruits and veggies per day. Let's be honest. What that's telling us is 9 in 10 Americans don't eat vegetables. And that's something I've been saying on this show for a long time. 95% of Americans do not eat vegetables. They don't. They're dumb. But why are they dumb? Why are we dumb, I should say? Why is the American culture so stupid when it comes to food? It's designed like that, again, of course. Do they teach you how to eat healthily in school? No. All they do is teach you how to work. What are you going to be when you grow up, kiddo? Right? And then you work 2 jobs. You don't have any time to cook. You don't have any time to research how to eat. And you were never taught that by school. Again, we're living in this situation now in the United States of America where we're multiple generations down from when processed food and fast food began to take a hold of the American markets. I was never taught to cook by my parents. I'm sure a lot of people in this country also were never taught to cook by our parents. Something that we probably should know, maybe in school, right, if there's a parental deficit, or by our parents if there's a scholastic deficit. A lot of Americans, I'd love to see a study on this, were never taught how to cook by their parents, myself included. A lot of people that I have spoken to have also told me the same as well. But again, 95% of Americans do not reach the minimum amount of fiber. That's a problem. Now, again, vegetables are not the only source of fiber. You can find fiber in other kinds of food, but vegetables are the main source of fiber. So there you go. Avoid binge drinking. Folks, binge drinking, something I'm very familiar with. I'm just going to skip this one, Get moving. Prolonged sitting, including spending many hours watching television or in front of a computer, may accelerate your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Get moving. Folks, I recommend, walk or bike, places that, like, let's say that there's, like, you need to go to, like, the 7-Eleven to get whatever, and it's, like, down the street. Maybe take a walk. You don't need the car. Like, I don't have a car, so I don't have a car. But maybe, walk around your house, even. Walk around your block, if that's an option. If you're, a man, walk around the block. If you're not a man, walk around your house. Just walk. Just walk around, have activities based around walking. Create, like, a chore schedule. Like, of doing certain cleaning activities so that, it evens out to you're walking at least once a day. Fill your plate with plant-based choices, number 7. Powerful, folks. We're talking about power here. Powerful plant-based foods like nuts, seeds, fruits, and vegetables, and whole grains, beans, legumes, blah, blah, blah. Again, we already know that. Again, just, 88% of Americans have a form of metabolic syndrome. Just, be careful. Here's some 7 tips according to eatingwell.com. Pretty good article. Not so sure about number 5. But, good article. Now, to be serious, though, about number 5. I don't know what binge drinking is, right? Like, so one of the problems here is, what is binge drinking? Like, so let's read. Binge drinking can cause, so about 2 hours where you can increase. Binge drinking is defined as 4 or more drinks for women and 5 or more drinks for men in about 2 hours. I don't know, 4 drinks in 2 hours. I don't, for me, right, like, binge drinking is like a day activity. It's like a whole day activity. Like, you start up at 10 and you have like 2 shots in the morning, and then you have like a, something in your hand throughout the whole day. That's binge drinking. 4 drinks in a 2-hour period. I don't know about that. It also makes no mention of water. Binge drinking can cause the pancreas to become inflamed and unable to secrete insulin as a result of excessive alcohol. I don't know about binge drinking. I often don't drink 4 or more drinks in a single sitting. I'm a moderate drinker. On the definitional scale, I'm a moderate drinker. I've had my fair share of binges. But 4 drinks is usually my maximum, honestly. I've had more than 4 many times. But typically, I would say maybe 95% of the time that I'm consuming alcohol, it's usually 1 or 2. Drinks, I'm a moderate drinker, just like I'm a moderate Democrat. I believe I'm a pragmatic, moderate Democrat. And we just need to compromise, folks. I don't know, 4 drinks in a 2-hour period, though. I've had 4 drinks throughout the day. Is that binge drinking? I don't know. It says 2-hour period, so hey, I'm just saying. Drink some water if you're going to do that. But also, again, seriously, though, eat healthy. Again, it pays dividends, folks. You go to the hospital less, you feel better, you think better, you're happier. Really, it's just you're a happy person. So there you go. I've never gotten a hangover in my life. Let me never in my entire life. I've never gotten a hangover. I want to have a hangover. I want to experience that. Like, people love to go like, oh, hashtag my hangover story. They made movies about this shit. Oh, I woke up and my head hurt. Oh, never had that. I've never experienced that. I want to wake up and have my head hurt. Like, I'm about to pay someone to smack me in the head with a fucking frying pan in the middle of my night so that I wake up with my head hurting. We don't believe you. I don't know what to tell you. I've never had a hangover. I've tried. People tell me that, because I mostly drink vodka, right? That's my 99% of the time. Matt, that's a deal. It's going to happen at least one time. All right. So, people tell me, oh, clear liquor doesn't give you a hangover as much as, dark liquor or whatever. I've had whiskey, right? I've drank a lot. I have drank so much in a short amount of time, right, that I have been unable to move. I have been on the floor, unable to move. and I didn't have a hangover waking up. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I have literally passed out on the floor of my kitchen, and I've woken up, and I'm like, oh, I'm thirsty. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I've tried many times. I've tried many times. So, if someone wants to show me how to have a hangover, I'm down with that. That's for sure. Trust me, you don't want a hangover. Paladin, aren't you my age? How have you had hangovers? And I don't know. I've tried. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Just wait for the Above It All live tour, folks. We're gonna get a tour going on, and I'm gonna have my first hangover on the Above It All live tour. Is it a tour or a tour? How do you say tour? I say tour like the browser, or like I tore my fucking my jeans. I tore them. I'm not into this tour bullshit. Tour? Sounds like you're talking about like numerals, you know, like, oh yeah, that's tour. 3-er, 4, you know, tour. I don't say tour, I say tour. But we're gonna do an Above It All live tour, and or tour. Maybe that's how I should market it, like with the 2 and then ER, tour. Anyway, so I did not know that existed, but maybe I will. It's possible. It seems interesting to me. Tour, folks. The Above It All live tour. I'm 35. I get a hangover. Not if I drink alcohol. What on God's green earth? If I don't drink plain ass water. I mean, I drink a lot of water all the time. Like, I have like really in-depth water habits, and I'm also surprised that this diabetes article didn't mention water. Gin? I've had gin. People tell me, like, I've had tequila. I've drank a lot of tequila. You know, I've had whiskey. I've had rum. I've had gin, vodka. I've had everything. I've mixed alcohol. People tell me, oh, if you mix alcohol, you'll get a hangover. I've had like 6 different alcohols in one evening. I don't even remember going to sleep. I wake up on the floor. I'm just thirsty. I just want some water. I don't know what to tell you. Like, yeah, so, but yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, what I do know what to tell you is that there's a show here. Folks, I'm doing an experiment on myself. Grape and grain, I've done that. I've done it, and I'm fine. I'm doing an experiment on myself this week, folks. I've been reading a lot of articles about, microdosing mushrooms, so I'm performing my own experiment either this week or for many weeks. We'll see how this week goes. So far so good. I had a very good morning, very interesting morning, and I'll maybe talk about that more later on when my experiment is over. But so far so good, folks. There's a camera here. I'm looking into that. Andrea's thirsty. I am thirsty. That's true. I drink a lot of water. So, like, when I drink a lot, I had alcohol last night. So, like, I wake up in the middle of the night, drink some water. I don't have a headache or anything. I'm just thirsty. I wake up, I drink some water, and I'm good. There's no trick or secret. Hangovers are caused by dehydration. If you don't get them, it's because your body processes alcohol well to the point where you don't get dehydrated. That, and I drink a lot of water. Also, my entire family, alcoholics, folks. Everyone in my family. Every single person in my family without a single exception. As far as, like, DNA is concerned, right? As far as DNA is concerned, every single one of them. It's a 100% ratio. So, I don't know what to tell you. Just got it going on over here. If I knew that when I was younger, what? Just drink water? Yeah, just drink water. I don't know. I drink water all the time. Like, I'm drinking Seltzer. Seltzer's water. Look at this. We got Kirkland signature lemon seltzer, folks. Lemon, calorie-free, sodium-free, sweetener-free, lemon essence, sparkling water with other natural flavors. So not only is it essenced with lemon, but there's other natural flavors in this bitch. That's crazy. Bodan, if you want to ask me a personal question, do so on Discord or something. Yeah, this is gonna this is a good troll. Why you scam me on your OnlyFans? I wish I scammed you on my OnlyFans because, you know, then I would get something out of this. You know, I wish. If only. I'm about to make an OnlyFans and scam you, just so that I can have scammed you on OnlyFans. All right, folks, we got a show here. Where do I even begin? Let's begin here. Well, begin. Anyway, let's begin. Let's you know, we're doing a show here. Folks, there's a war going on. Now, I'm not talking about, you know, us drones striking kids in Afghanistan or Yemen or whatever. I'm not talking about that kind of war. I'm talking about a culture war. I'm talking about the decay of American culture, folks. That's right. There's a new war in this country. First, there was the war on Christmas, the war on terror, and now something even more terrorizing to Americans, a war on cops. 24-hour period sees 13 police officers wounded by gunfire. 13 police officers were wounded in shootings over a 24-hour period across 4 states. I covered some of these shootings, but thank you, Fox News, for helping me out, filling in the blanks here. This is what we call the war on cops. Betsy Branter-Smith, spokeswoman for the National Police Association and 29-year police veteran who trains officers, told Fox News Digital. We are constantly attacked, and we are either attacked doing very simple things, traffic stop, responding to a 911 call, a domestic, all of that! They're attacked, folks. The incidents happen in Arizona, Maryland, New Mexico, and Pennsylvania. Here are some of the details. Folks, 24-hour periods sees 13 police officers wounded. Can I get an officer down? Arizona, 9 officers shot. I already covered this on a video, so I'm going to skip that. Maryland, 2 police officers shot. Late Friday afternoon, 2 police officers were shot and wounded in Frederick, Maryland, while responding to calls of a suspicious person. The suspect was also shot during the incident, and Maryland officials transported him to a nearby hospital. New Mexico, 1 state trooper shot. A New Mexico state state police officer, was also shot and wounded Friday. And then now we see someone with like pink hair. Pennsylvania, 1 SWAT officer shot. Folks, the SWAT. I'm not even going to bother. Who cares about SWAT? 59% increase. If you don't think cops are humans, let's be honest here. SWAT are the scummest of the scum. 2021 FBI counted 73 officers intentionally killed in the line of duty. That's nearly 59% increase compared to 46 intentionally killed in 2020. The last time more than 72 officers were killed was in 1995. 72 officers were killed in 1995 when 74 officers were intentionally killed on the job. Folks, there's a war on cops. Progressive policies to blame? Oh, God. That's a young Rudy. All right, so they're going to blame the left. So the left, which has no power, right, anywhere. There's no power anywhere where the left has it in this country. So, but they're going to blame the left. Branter-Smith and former New York City Police Commissioner, pointed to progressive bail reform and prosecution policies that have allowed repeat offenders to be released from prison and back into the communities without vetting. Now again, is there any evidence at all that the people that are shoplifting some makeup or steaks, whatever, are going to prison and coming out and then shooting cops? Is there any evidence that these are the same people that are shooting cops, going to prison, and then being released immediately and then shooting cops again? Because that's what they're trying to pretend here. That someone not going to jail because they stole a loaf of bread for their kid, then they're going to, okay, so they go into the court system, they get found guilty or they pay a fine, they don't go to prison, they walk out of the courtroom, buy a gun, and shoot a cop? Like, what is the argument here, and why do people, like, not ask these questions? The message that politicians and district attorneys have been sending to criminals is that you can commit crimes with impunity. That's not what anyone says. No one says that. There are 0 people saying that. And since they're not doing stop, question, and frisk anymore, criminals are emboldened to carry guns now that they would not have before, and it's just a downward cycle. There is no evidence for that at all. There is no evidence for that at all. But again, folks, there's a war on cops. The cops, folks, engaging in a war on the civilians in this country. And some of them are, they're not having a good time in doing so. So what are you going to do? War on cops, folks. Anyway, I'm here for it. You heard it here first. Like, I mean, if there's any channel that covers police violence as well as mine, right? When it, like, police violence, that is to say violence on police, right? I think I've probably got the crown on that one. And so I've been saying, like, as someone that monetizes whenever police get shot or injured, I like to monetize that. On my YouTube channel, I monetize that. I also monetize that via incoming donations and so forth. People give me money to report on officers being down, and so as a result, I do so. I have a vested interest in reporting on this news, which I do. I'm a news reporter. I report the news, and I can tell you, there's a lot of cops getting shot, and I've been making a lot of money on that. So just throwing that out there. Officer down, war on cops. There you go. Buzzwords. Just don't talk about me while I'm away. Oh, shit. I'm definitely going to be looking at my phone on Thursday, let me tell you. I will specifically look for your message, Bodan. I got you. Red 3 founding members were still at school. Like high school or college? I don't know. Originally performing covers, they quickly started adding original material to their live set and soon began attracting the attention of the local music community with their energetic live performances. This is great. Red Faces, you want to come on the show? We can do like a music interview. Like you can play a song on the show and then we'll have an interview. Open invitation, Red Faces. British indie pop band. Actually, no, it looks like they broke up in 2020. Oh no! Wait, did they? Yep, February 2020. Damn. Okay, Red Faces, if you want to come back, bring it like a Reformation tour. You can start it on the show. Red Faces, a British indie pop band. Is it indie pop or indie rock? Hold up, check this out. I've got the article open. We're looking at Red Faces, not to be confused with Red Feces, which I also encountered. But anyway, so this is Red Faces. British indie pop band, right? It says right here. And then the biography, it says 3-piece indie rock band. Is it indie pop or indie rock? Here it says indie pop and indie rock and alternative pop. Now, here's my question. What's the difference between indie and alternative? Is alternative not necessarily independent? And what happens if you're indie and then you get signed by a label? Then you're not indie anymore. If they were signed by Sony Music RCA in 2015, they're not indie. So I guess that's when they became alternative pop. That's okay, that makes sense. So they started off as indie pop. Then they got into indie rock, right? They're like, let's switch up the genre. Then they got signed, so they're no longer indie. And then they were like, let's just bring back pop. Okay. Red Faces, an indie alternative pop band from South Yorkshire. Thank you for visiting the chat. Appreciate it. All right. So, got a show here, folks. I'd love to join the podcast. What's the StreamYard link? I don't use StreamYard. But if you want to DM me on Twitter, we can set something up. So this is my Twitter. Feel free to DM me on Twitter. We can set something up. All right. So let's talk about this. Just roll right in, folks. It's a waste of your time to block them. I'm just saying. All right. So Bill Maher, famed liberal commentator. He's so liberal. Bill Maher is so liberal that like your liberal friends go like, damn, he's liberal. That's how liberal Bill Maher is. Bill Maher, who is a liberal, he's a staunch liberal. Some would even say he's a proud liberal. But these days, he is not much of a proud liberal. In fact, he's a little bit of a disgruntled liberal. He's also world famous and a commentator. He's also a liberal. And he's going to be talking about Justin Trudeau. And it's going to get cringy here. So let's watch.
Justin Trudeau. What? You're laughing. But Justin Trudeau, I mean, I thought he was kind of a cool guy. But I started to read what he said. This is a couple of weeks ago. He was, or maybe this is September, but he was talking about...
So we got Marianne Williamson on the... I don't know who this person is, but we have Marianne Williamson here. She says some very bizarre things in here as well. Marianne Williamson, people think that she's a leftist. Now, again, is she one of the more interesting people that ran for president in 2020? Maybe, but a leftist? I don't know about that. But either way, she's here, so there's going to be a 2-for-1 here.
People who are not vaccinated. He said they don't believe in science. They're often misogynistic, often racist. No, they're not.
That was not smart of him at all.
Right.
Okay, so I just want to say that's true. I mean, like, now again, I don't want to be on the side of Justin Trudeau here. I don't like Justin Trudeau. On that note, by the way, I'm wearing this hoodie inside out. I don't know if that's visible, but I just realized that. But anyway, that's true. I mean, this is true. I don't like Justin Trudeau. I'm not a fan. I don't live in Canada, all right? But neither does Bill Maher, so it's okay. That being said, this is true. This is true.
He said they don't believe in science. They're often misogynistic, often racist.
That's true. I mean, they don't believe in science. That part is true. Now, again, if you want to say, right, now, again, of course, we have to carve out the exceptions. Those who cannot get the vaccine, a small chunk of people, not, right, like if you have a Venn diagram of people that aren't vaccinated, right, you know, I don't know, it's going to be, the thing is, this is like a small percentage. This is like a fraction of like a singular percentage point of those that are not currently vaccinated are those that have immunocompromised, autoimmune disorders, and they can't actually do that. Now, again, this is why vaccines are so important, because not everyone is able to be vaccinated. So if we vaccinate 99% of the population, then eventually COVID will stop mutating, stop spreading as quickly. And then those that cannot get the vaccine are able to go outside again. So again, have to say that. Otherwise, I get people yelling at me because, for whatever reason, nuance doesn't exist. But anyway, so outside of that chunk, yes, if you're not vaccinated and you can get vaccinated, you don't believe in science. Full stop. That said, I don't think Justin Trudeau believes in science either because, look at what he's doing with like oil and so forth. Right. So again, Justin Trudeau, not one to speak about believing in science. But often racist, often misogynistic. That's true. That's factual. He said often. Right? Like not all the time, not 100%. Often, mostly. It's like 51%. Right? That's true. It's just true. I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. It's true. This is a true statement. But here's why Bill Maher and Marianne Williamson and other guy, I don't know who the other guy is. Let's see what they have to say.
No, they're not.
That was not smart of him at all.
Right.
Now, again, let's talk about this. So that was not smart of him at all. Now, you could make that argument. That's a whole separate conversation. Right? Unvaccinated people, right? Anti-vaxxers, they are dumb. I have no problem with saying that. Low IQ, dunderhead Neanderthals who are probably better off dying. I have no problem with saying that. Fuck them. Fuck them. Okay? Now, I'm not a world leader. I'm not Justin Trudeau, right? So, now you can make an argument that if you're a world leader, it's your job to convince these people that germs are real. You can make that argument. And so, with Justin Trudeau's job being to try to help his people, right? You can make an argument that it's not smart. So I'm listening. Let's see where this goes.
Right. He said, but they take up space. And with that, we have to make a choice in terms of a leader as a country. Do we tolerate these people? It's like...
Okay, so that's true. It is also true that unvaccinated people take up space. That is true. As does everyone. Everyone takes up space. Right? But the other thing that Justin Trudeau, I don't know the origin of these comments. I'm going to be honest with you. Okay. But yes, it is frustrating to, like, you know, if I'm a world leader, I don't know exactly what Canada's been doing. I'm sure it's not enough, but, you know, pay people to stay at home, right? Ban travel, international travel. Ban international travel. We don't need it. Well, not we, but they. No one needs it right now. You know, closed schools have online schooling, right? These are all things that we could do. You know, just as a general society, but Canada as well, right? So I'm sure that Justin Trudeau could be believing in science and doing a better job at controlling the pandemic. But I also understand the idea, conceptually, of being frustrated by the fact that there is like a large percentage of people that just literally do not believe in germs. Like the germ theory of disease is up for debate right now, and it has been for 2 years. The germ theory of disease. What? That's debatable. That's legitimate political discourse in the eyes of like right-wing morons. So anyway, let's see.
Tolerate it. Now you do sound like Hitler.
That was.
And recently he.
Folks. Okay, so Justin Trudeau is Hitler.
A choice in terms of a leader as a country. Do we tolerate these people? It's like tolerate it. Now you do sound like Hitler.
That was.
And recently he talked about them holding unacceptable views.
Wow. I'm surprised to hear that Trudeau said those things.
Okay, I don't know why she is surprised about that, but being upset that X% of your country doesn't believe in the germ theory of disease does not make you Hitler. I'm sorry, like, can we, like, be on... Now, again, I am not someone that scoffs every time, like, someone brings in Hitler. I bring in Hitler a lot. Like, for example, I personally do think that we are experiencing a genocide right now. I think that people that have autoimmune disorders that are dying of COVID completely unnecessarily because anti-vaxxers refuse to get vaccinated is the problem. I also think that the governments that don't mandate these vaccines, they should be mandatory. They should not be optional. These vaccines should be mandatory. We should have police, instead of, I don't know, killing unarmed black people, maybe the police should be driving to people's houses, knocking on their door, strapping them down, tying them to a table with a belt, and then vaccinating them. That's just my opinion. And I say that completely unironically. I'm not even joking when I say that, because that would be a better use of police forces in this country. So I'm for mandatory vaccination. Let's just get this shit over with, okay? We have a government for a reason, okay? Let's just get this fucking shit over with. We should do mandatory lockdowns, pay people to stay at home, mandatory free food programs, etc. So this is how we end this pandemic. So now I have no problem with invoking Holocaust, genocide rhetoric. I have no problem with invoking Hitler in political conversations, but this is not an applicable term. This is not, like, Justin Trudeau is not Hitler in this instance, right? Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just not real, right? This is not true. We also know that most people that are dying from COVID, right, tend to be people that are poorer, tend to be people that don't have good health insurance in the United States, right? I don't know about Canada. We also know that there are people that are dying that got vaccinated but had a heart attack. More aligned with Hitler's philosophy than wanting to vaccinate people against a deadly pandemic. I'm just saying. What did Hitler believe? That, you know, certain people are better than other people. What do meat eaters believe? That humans are better than other kinds of animals and creatures. If you eat meat, you are closer to Hitler than Justin Trudeau in this context. Now, again, I think Justin Trudeau probably eats meat as well. I don't know if he's a vegetarian or vegan. But in this context, him saying these words about those that are unvaccinated, anti-vaxxers typically, him saying those words is less Hitler-esque than anyone who has ever eaten meat in the last, I don't know, ever. I'm just saying. Just saying. Just throwing that out there. It's a retweet. You can quote me on that. If you eat meat, you're Hitler. Go fuck yourself. Also, get vaccinated. I believe, again, in mandatory vaccination. And so, we should get the gazpacho police on that. Folks, I don't know. Apparently, there's something going on with the stream. Is it working? Is this stream functioning at all? Is this on? Is it on? Does sucking dick count as eating meat? I don't think so. Now, you can make an argument that swallowing cum is not vegan. But that is a misconception as to what veganism is. Veganism is all about consent. Animals are unable to consent to being murdered and eaten. Animals are unable to consent to watching their kids be killed and massacred and brutalized and slaughtered, chopped into pieces, and then consumed by fat fuck motherfuckers. They cannot consent to do that. And even if they could consent, you can make an argument that coercive, right? Swallowing cum, presumably it's consensual. You ever swallow someone's cum and then they go like, oh, never mind. I don't know. It doesn't happen often. It might have happened. It's possible. But again, it's all about consent. So cum is vegan, folks. Case closed. Let's continue with the show. We got a program here. So we got the war on cops. I did that. We got a war on cops, folks. It's a goddamn war on cops. A goddamn war on motherfucking cops. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, we got a show going on, folks. I mean, every time you swallow, in general, like if you're just like, you know, like, oh, my throat's a little dry, let me just swallow some saliva. You know, sometimes you do it. That's technically you're consuming microorganisms, aka cells, most of which that you're swallowing are dead, but some of which are still alive, not for long. So every time you swallow, technically you're killing microorganisms. But again, it's all about consent. I don't know enough about honey or vegan honey or what that means. I don't know enough about it. I'm not a honey person. That said, cum is a very vital part of a diet. I recommend getting your daily dose. So with that being said, let's get into some more news here. Donald Trump, Orange Man. He's in the news. Not looking so orange in this photo, but he's in the news. Donald Trump, aka the Orange Man, loser of the 2020 election. Loser. He lost. He did not win. He lost. Joe Biden won the 2020 election. Said his presidency was, quote, glamorous and a romantic period while promoting his photo memoir. Folks, he released a picture book. That's fun. Oh, there's a video clip of this. Oh, great. All right, let's listen. I guess it's an audio clip, but let's listen.
The numbers, our country was thriving. We were just beating everybody. And by the way, charging China massive taxes and tariffs, taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We never took in 10 cents. And they viewed it as a romantic period, I think. And I think that's really why it's doing so well, because there is a lot of romance to the book. It was, despite all of the vicious hoaxes and scams that they pulled and made up stories like Russia. You know, you had the Mueller, you had impeachment hoax #1.
I love that. The Mueller. Not the Mueller report. Just the Mueller. He got the buzz. He got the keyword out there. So
impeachment hoax #2. Despite all of that, they view it as a very glamorous time because our country was doing so well, and we were respected. Putin respected us, and President Xi of China respected us. Kim Jong-un respected us. They all did. I tell you, Iran really respected us. They weren't doing a thing, and now they're going to have...
Okay, so Iran respected Donald Trump even after Donald Trump authorized an assassination on one of their top, military generals or whatever, like a politician, military general. It's the same thing. Donald Trump authorized an illegal assassination by international law. It was an illegal assassination, a provocation of war, right? But Iran respected.
Now they don't even talk to the United States. They won't even talk. And they want money. They want billions and billions of dollars just to sit down. and people viewed it as a very beautiful and maybe romantic time in a sense, despite all of the nonsense by the other side and the radical left, I call it, because that's what it is. They're sick. So it was a beautiful time, and people loved it. And
so it was a beautiful time, a romantic period. I don't know what to tell you, but this, like, he is in his, like, nostalgia phase right now. Like, this is, like, he is, like, you know, it's like when I play a video game I used to play when I was a kid. Like, I'm playing it for the nostalgia, bro. Right? Like, you know, the game is not actually that good. It's just that I remember it being better in my head. And that's what Donald Trump is projecting here. He's trying to project an era of nostalgia. You know, Make America Great Again has never been more literal, like, in this instance, right? Because, like, he's trying to brainwash his followers into thinking that, you know, during his first term in office that everything was perfect. It's clearly not true. But again, it's easier to convince people that the past was perfect. Like, if things are getting continuously worse, and they have been for decades, things have been getting worse in this country continuously, right? And things are worse now than they were a couple of years ago. It's easy to brainwash your followers into thinking, oh yeah, back when I was in office, things were good. Do you need facts? No, they're dumb. You're speaking to the lowest common denominator. You're dumb. You're a dumb fuck. You don't need facts. So what he's trying to do here, again, is imprint like an air of nostalgia in his followers' minds. So we'll see how that goes. But I find that to be pretty interesting. You know, I don't know. I'm glad that there's a clip of that, because I was down to just read an article, but it's way more funny when you hear it. Let me tell you, that's just funny. That's it. Jordan in the chat as a critique that I want to read. Why do you want the police to do vaccinations? Don't you think Black Lives Matter would riot again? Nobody likes the police anymore. Dario Hunter is a real leftist. I don't know who Dario Hunter is. And I don't know what that has to do with me. And also when I say, why do you want the police to do vaccinations? I'm not entirely serious about that. When I say I want mandatory vaccinations, I don't necessarily mean it has to be the police. When I say the police should do them, when I said that, I specifically said because then they would be doing something useful. The implication with that is that they don't do anything useful. Like, I would prefer police to, like, pick up litter off the highway. That would be something useful, right? That's my opinion. That's the message I was trying to get across. But this is what's really interesting. Don't you think Black Lives Matter would riot again? This comment is, like, really strange, right? Because, so you're trying to, like, do this weird, like, true leftist thing. Like, there's no such thing as a true leftist except for Dario Hunter, who I don't know who that is. And I'm down to look into them. But the idea that you say, don't you think Black Lives Matter would riot again? As if, first of all, riot. I'm very concerned about the use of the word riot here. Very concerned with the use of the word riot here. I'm also very concerned with the use of the term Black Lives Matter. Don't you think Black Lives Matter would riot again? I just, like, that is, like, such a right-wing, like, sentence. And I'm not trying to say that you're right-wing, but it's just, like, that's a weird thing to say. Like to have Dario Hunter as a real leftist, who I don't know who that is, and then also Black Lives Matter are rioters. That's a weird, you gotta be 100% with me here. That's a weird thing to say, to put in the same paragraph. Those two sentences do not really go together. But do I think Black Lives Matter would riot? Whatever that means. You did a video on Dario Hunter. He ran with the Green Party. Oh, Green Party. Okay. There you go. Now I know who that is. I barely know who this is. I'm going to be honest. The only reason I did a video on that is because there was, like, drama in the Green Party and I thought it was funny. But okay. But the implication by saying Dario Hunter is a real leftist is that I'm not a real leftist, and I don't know, like, again, like, I'm going to be honest. Yes, I was being facetious when I said police should do the vaccinations. I would prefer we abolish police, right? My point in that statement is that police don't do anything as it is. So then if they were to do that, they would be doing something useful. I disagree with the framing of Black Lives Matter being rioters, or that Black Lives Matter can do anything. I mean, like, that doesn't... I just don't understand. Like, Black Lives Matter is going to riot? Like, you can say, like, there would be riots, or people would protest against them, but, like, the phraseology, right? The phraseology of Black Lives Matter would riot. To me, I find a lot of problems with that. Yeah, Dario Hunter was the guy who ran for the Green Party primary, and accused, I think it was Howie Hawkins and the Greens of being, like, you know, racist and having preferential treatment to Howie Hawkins because Howie Hawkins was, like, a Green Party, like, you know, like, he's been with them for a long time. So he accused them of basically giving him the nomination. Again, it's basically the same thing that the Democrats do with Hillary in 2016, right? When you think about it, right? Oh, well, Hillary's been a good Democrat for a long time. Bernie's not even a Democrat. He's an independent. Right, so that's I think that was the situation with the Green Party, but that's the only thing I know about Dario Hunter. And if you want to share more info with me on him, he can be a great person. I don't know. I'm not making any character judgments on them. But anyway, so Donald Trump, a beautiful romantic period, folks. Folks, I would like to say, please share the stream. If you, this week I'm doing an experiment, on myself, on my brain. And what that's going to do is it's going to, I'm trying, right, with this experiment, I've got a list of things that I want to accomplish. A list. I wrote them out. Like, I used a pencil. Actually, I used a pen. And so I wrote out a list of things, and one of those things is I want to, I'm going to be honest, folks. I'm going to be honest. You know, I personally feel this way, so I'm not, you know, it's possible that this was all in my head. But I personally feel this way. That the last couple of shows I've been doing, maybe the last week or so, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just my own mental illness. Have been lackluster, not as good as I'd want them to be. But maybe I'm holding myself to an unrealizable expectation. Like, does every single day need to be a banger? I'd prefer that to be the case, but is that required? You know, you can't have every show be a perfect 10 out of 10, you know? But one of the things on my list is I want to do longer, more thoughtful shows, where I have thoughts, and they're full of them. And so, you know, I haven't actually, I'm going to be honest with you folks. I didn't edit any clips at all for like the last couple of fucking, the last couple of days. I haven't really done much. I've just been kind of playing video games, which I've been enjoying, and I've not, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, but one of the things on my list, is I want to, you know, I want to make the shows a little bit better if I can, and you know, I'm open to criticism on that. So there you go. Yeah, I got plenty of content left for today's program. James Waters in the chat. Question mark. Okay. Run for office? Question mark. Maybe. It's possible. Maybe I'll walk. It's possible. I don't know. Yes, I'm no against you. I just heard the police doing vaccinations and it triggered me the wrong way. I understand. I could have been more clear with my speech. I was pulling for Jesse Ventura to run. Jesse Ventura is an interesting guy compared to Trump. Interesting guy for sure. Would he have beaten Trump and Biden? No. That's fictitious in my opinion. Would they have let him on the debate stage? No. That's like, let's assume in a fantasy world, right? Americans weren't partisan dumb fucks, and there was a debate with Trump, Biden, and Jesse Ventura. Like, and if that happened, right, would Jesse Ventura do well in the debate, and potentially would he win an election? Sure. In that fantasy world, right, where we don't have a super far-right party that has like 20 to 30% of the country locked in to vote for them no matter what. And if we had like a ranked choice system, like, but we don't. We don't live in that world. And that, like, I was huge on Greens. I was huge in the third parties. My first election season, 2016 was the first time I voted. I voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary. I was very upset about what happened in the 2016 primary. I ended up voting for Jill Stein in the Green Party in the general election. I lived in Maryland at the time, so it was an irrelevant decision, and that was part of my decision. I was willing to vote for Gary Johnson of the Libertarians because I at that point in my time was very upset at the fact that Bernie Sanders was did not get a fair shake. Let's just put it that way. And the Democratic Party, and I was super into the third party thing. I researched them extensively. I was like, I remember the 15%. I remember when Gary Johnson got 15% in one of those polls, and that was like, there was that rule where it's like, if you get 15% in a poll, you're allowed on the debate stage. And Gary Johnson got 15% in the poll, and then went on like the news media and did a big tour. I'm going to be on the debate stage, and then they just said nah, right? So so I remember, I dabbled with third parties. My opinion at the time was end the duopoly, right? Like fuck the Democrats, fuck the Republicans, anyone but them. That was my opinion at the time, and that didn't work. It failed, and it didn't work. And then 2018 comes along. Right, people have a different strategy. What if we just did primaries and put more effort into Democratic primaries? And that had results, right? Right, like so in between 2016 election and 2018 midterms, right? My position on third parties was I would prefer anyone but Democrats and Republicans. Then I realized, wait a second, there's no one in these third parties that has any power anywhere. Maybe a couple of city council seats, and that's great and good for them. They should be doing more marketing on that, right? The Libertarians even have more. Like, the Libertarians are fucking dumb motherfuckers, and they've got more power than the Green Party. That should tell you something, right? And then in 2018, you've got AOC, right? I followed AOC's campaign when she had like fucking 10,000 followers on Twitter or whatever. I was pretty big into that when that was like a new thing. And then I was like, yeah, this is obviously the strategy. Anyone who disagrees with this, I think, and anyone who's still in the third party, like, it's one thing if you're like, I don't vote, man, I think you're dumb, right? But if you're a third party guy, I'm sorry, been there, done that. Like, I mean, I feel it. I agree with I agree with the analysis of the problems. I don't agree with the solution. Where an MD, I lived in Annapolis for 23 years. I lived in Prince George's County, on the edge of Washington, D.C., so. But that's my opinion on third parties. Did I talk about the 113 JRE shows removed? No. And here's a better question. Did Joe Rogan talk about the 5 Above It All shows that were removed? Reminder, YouTube claimed that I was peddling misinformation when I wasn't. Did Joe Rogan cover my story of being censored? No. So fuck him. I don't care about him or his shows. I don't care. Actually, never mind. I did talk about that because never mind. So yes, Joe Rogan needs to talk about my situation. That's extremely important. But also, I did talk about that because I talked about Kyle Kalinski's conspiracy theory, where he thought that like it was because he talked about Saudi Arabia, and then like Spotify and like the Crown Prince said let the Kyle Kalinski show be removed from Spotify, and then he did this 30-minute ad. I laughed at that. So technically, in a roundabout way, I did talk about that. Your older brother lives around there? I didn't know you had an older brother, so just spawning relatives out of the ether for me. That's cool. I don't live there anymore, so it's irrelevant to me. But thank you for telling me. Communist Party, Party of Social Liberation, Green Party, and now People's Party is all a joke. Yeah, I don't like third parties. Again, we can agree on the problems. We can agree on the analysis of the problems going on, but the solutions, I disagree. Needless to say, on the solutions. I will say, Kyle Kalinski actually did tweet about my YouTube strike. So, shout outs to him for that. Like, that is cool. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast here, but I did talk about it on Twitter. He did mention my YouTube strike. Now, Should he have mentioned it in a video? Absolutely. It's weird that Kyle Kulinski only does videos about high-profile accounts that get censored. He should have done a video about me, but he didn't. But he did tweet about it, so that's cool. So shout outs to that. Thoughts involving Vermin Supreme. I am a fan of Vermin Supreme. Good character. I would say Vermin Supreme should be an inspiration to everybody. So speaking of party politics. Mitch McConnell is working a behind-the-scenes campaign to make sure Trump-backed goofballs don't win the primaries. Report. This is in Business Insider, folks. Folks, we saw Mitch McConnell last week said that January 6th, 2021 was a, quote, violent insurrection. Insurrection is a legal term. The 14th Amendment, Section 3, clearly states those who engage in an insurrection or... So there are two things here, right? There are two things that will ban you from office. Federal, state, municipal, anywhere. You cannot run for any office anywhere in the United States, period. If you engage in insurrection or give aid or comfort to those engaging in insurrection. Those are the two criteria that will ban you from office. Mitch McConnell, when he said violent insurrection, clearly, insurrection is a legal term. He could have said riot. He could have said whatever. He could have said it was a protest that turned violent or whatever. Mitch McConnell chose to use the term insurrection on purpose. 14th Amendment, Section 3 clearly states those who engage in an insurrection or those who give aid and comfort to those engaging in insurrection are banned from the U.S. offices everywhere. Now again, I think he chose that language because he wants to do whatever he can to get away from he feels, in my opinion, my analysis here is that he feels that there's an opportunity here to divorce the Republican Party from Donald Trump. I disagree with that. I think Donald Trump owns the party. I think that this is a failed strategy. But that being said, Mitch McConnell can do damage to Trump's schemes. Mitch McConnell can influence enough primary races to reduce Trump's overall power, and I think that that's an interesting thing to think about and pontificate. And I don't think it's going to win, but again, we're talking about harm reduction here. If Mitch McConnell can deal a few blows and stop a couple of outright crazy motherfuckers from winning a primary or two, it's interesting. That's just, it's a good, I don't know, it's interesting. It's interesting. Senator Mitch McConnell is trying to thwart former President Donald Trump's efforts to shape the GOP, the New York Times reported on Sunday. McConnell and a team of allies have, for months, been leading a behind-the-scenes campaign to try and recruit potential Senate candidates who could go up against Trump-backed picks. It is an effort to gain a GOP majority in the Senate, the Times reported. The campaign consists of phone calls, meetings, and polling memos, the paper said. Even after Trump vacated office last January, lawmakers have continued to argue he maintains a tight hold on the GOP. Last year, for example, Senator Lindsey Graham said he wanted to leverage Trump's influence to ensure that the Republican Party takes back the House and Senate in 2022. In December, Graham suggested that Trump will continue to shape the political sphere and party lead, blah, blah, blah. If you want to be a blah, blah, blah. The Republican Party can't grow without him. Graham, okay, fuck Graham. Among Republican voters, support for Trump still remains strong. An October poll conducted by Quinnipiac University found that 78% of Republicans want to see Trump. So again, I think that this is I don't think that there's any chance of success with Mitch McConnell's gambit here. I think that there's a 0% chance of success. That he, the trust fund baby, elite type, the suit and tie, Mitch McConnell, turtle brain, fuckface type, is going to beat the Trump type in the Republican Party. It's a 0% chance, in my opinion. But it's certainly fun to watch. It's certainly really fun to watch. And so that's my point here. At least 100 people have so far received an endorsement from him since he left the White House. Those endorsements do not sit well with McConnell per the Times, who characterized some of his picks as goofballs. A few of McConnell's prospects who were not identified by the Times declined his invitation to run for Senate. According to the report, they did not feel comfortable with the possibility of angering the former president. So again, we have situations like Larry Hogan, governor of Maryland, is a Republican. Governor of Maryland is a Republican. How? Well, because people that live in Maryland are fucking stupid. I forget the guy's name, but isn't the governor of Massachusetts also a Republican? Why? Well, Massachusetts voters are dumb. They're dumb. I mean, most voters are dumb. But, Massachusetts has a Republican governor? What? Vermont has a Republican governor. What? Vermont, the state that voted for a socialist to be the member of the House. It's an at-large district Bernie Sanders ran in. And then he ran in the Senate. A socialist! They also voted for a Republican governor. What? They're dumb. I don't know what to tell you. They're fucking stupid, right? They're dumb motherfuckers, right? So Mitch McConnell was like, maybe we can get these Republicans to run. And since they ran for governor and won a statewide governor race, they could theoretically win a statewide Senate race, theoretically. They all are like, I'm not, nope. Right? They were like, no, not a chance. I don't want to be around that Trump guy. There's a report that came out yesterday. Larry Hogan, governor of Maryland, reportedly interested in running for president in 2024. So he's not doing the Senate thing. He doesn't care. So again, Mitch McConnell, not happy with that at all. And again, one of the big things why I want to talk about this kind of thing, it's important to understand how crazy the Trumpers are. They are fascists. They are Nazis. There is you can make the argument that Mitch McConnell's a Nazi too, and I will make that argument any day of the week. That being said, there's a difference, very small difference, right, between a Nazi who openly advocates for fascism and a Nazi who openly advocates for fascism 99% of the time. Right? There's a very small difference. You need a microscope, and then you need to put a microscope under the microscope to see that difference. But again, Trumpers are openly crazy, and again, they're also not afraid of performing political violence, like in the streets. And that's something that Trump knows, and he wants to leverage. So, throwing that out there. Goofballs. I agree with Mitch McConnell on that term. Goofballs. They are most certainly goofballs. But goofballs, they're ticking time bombs. So, throwing that out there. But let's also, adjacent to this, let's read this. Alarm as Trump backs big lie candidates for key election posts in Michigan. So again, Trump is trying to leverage his influence in the GOP all across the country, and especially in these primary races, right? Because who participates in primary races, right? Like most Americans don't even know what a primary is because Americans are fucking dumb, right? Now, again, Republicans are dumb. Primary voters are also dumb. Like, again, Hillary Clinton won the primary in 2016. What? Like Joe Biden won the primary in 2020. What? Primary voters are fucking stupid. Donald Trump won the primary, right? Well, how? How did that happen? Because primary voters are dumb as fuck, right? But there's also a smaller percentage because most Americans don't even know what the fuck a primary is. They don't even know. So the amount of people you need to pander to and manipulate is less in primaries. And so Trump is leveraging his extreme influence on these primaries to try to get crazy motherfuckers in key posts all across the country. Michigan is a swing state. Very important state that he won in 2016 and lost in 2020. Donald Trump is the loser of the 2020 election, folks, and he lost. And so he's going to try to gain power and influence in these swing states over the course of the next 4 years, or 3 years, I guess. Donald Trump has endorsed right-wing Republican candidates who support his baseless claims of a stolen election for key posts in Michigan, raising the prospect of a Trumpist takeover of how the key battleground state might run its elections. Trump and his allies are backing numerous candidates in the coming midterm elections across the U.S., including in other vital states like Arizona and Georgia. But his intervention in Michigan raises particular eyebrows due to its role in helping Trump win in 2016 before flipping back to Democrats in 2020 and helping oust him from office. The former U.S. president is close ally Mike Lindell. Close ally. Folks, Mike Lindell is the close ally of a U.S. president. are giving strong backing to Michigan lawyer and key promoter of the debunked election fraud again. Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Joe Biden is the legitimate winner of the 2020 election. He won. Donald Trump lost. And he's they're supporting a crazy motherfucker for the attorney general race. Trump plans to hold a fundraiser for lawyer Matthew DiPerno on 8th of March at his Florida Mar-a-Lago club, where Lindell told The Guardian he will speak to boost DiPerno's chances to become the Republican to take on Michigan's Democratic Attorney General. Christina Caramo, a community college professor who has also peddled conspiracy theories about election fraud and who has never held elected office, has received Trump's backing to be the Republican Secretary of State candidate to challenge incumbent Democrat Jocelyn Benson in the fall elections. The Secretary of State plays a crucial role in overseeing elections, and Trump loyalists are investing heavily to capture several of those posts this year. Again, reminder, the Trump Georgia call. Trump tried to pressure, Raffensperger. Remember in this? Hold up. I got this epic clip. Remember this? You remember this one? This is where this clip is taken from.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes.
So again, remember that call? He should have been impeached over that, by the way, but that happened 2 days before the insurrection attempt. So people kind of memory hold that one. But remember, I did a live stream the day of when it came out. It was great. Go watch that live stream. It was amazing. 11,780 votes, motherfucker. Find them. That was a Republican Secretary of State that didn't fall for it. So now what is Trump trying to do? He's trying to make sure that the Republican Secretary of State nominees are batshit lunatics that would follow along with his bullshit. It's very important. And the fact that the Georgia call, that he didn't get him, he should have been, there should have been dual impeachments over the Georgia call and over January 6th. They should have been happening at the same time. 2 impeachments, not one and combine them, but 2 separate impeachments. Should have been going on at the same time. It's a missed opportunity from the Democrats. But again, Donald Trump is learning from that. He's learning from this. So we need to as well. And early this month, Trump spoke at a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago for the gubernatorial campaign of conservative commentator and businesswoman Tudor Dixon, who has backed a vaguely defined forensic audit of the state's election results, which Joe Biden won by 154,000 votes. Although Trump called Dixon very special, he has not yet made an official endorsement, and she is one of 12 Republican candidates seeking to be the next governor. I believe Michigan has the gubernatorial elections, of course, in 2022. Which again, not all states. Some states have their gubernatorial elections during the presidential year. Some have during midterms. So again, Trump is seeing this. He's got infinite money and resources, and he's pretty much got control of the GOP, right? So he's got all the resources, all the money in the world to find out the perfect formula for taking over the U.S. government. He couldn't do it on January 6, 2021. So he's going to do it January 6, 2025? I don't know, but he's planning it. Trump's varying embraces of DiPerno, Caramo, and Dixon is emblematic of how he's helping candidates to repeat his false charges that he lost due to widespread fraud, and who would potentially up Trump's sway results in states should he run again in 2024. Again, folks, imagine these people win in 2022. They're solidly in office. Somehow they were elected. Even though, again, they're giving aid and comfort to those engaging in an insurrection, they are banned from holding office. 14th Amendment Section 3 says all of these people are banned. Trump is banned. All of these people engaging in election conspiracies are banned. They're all banned. They're all banned. Every Republican who embraces these conspiracies is banned constitutionally. In the same way that I, a 25-year-old, cannot run for president. You need to be 35 to run for president. Who says that? The Constitution says that. The Constitution also says you can't engage in an insurrection or give aid or comfort to those engaging in insurrection and run for office. It's the same Constitution. So if I can't run for office, if I can't run for president under the age of 35, Trumpers can't run for office having given aid and comfort to those engaging in insurrection. We're both constitutionally ineligible. Do you understand? So I'm going to run for president in 2024. We'll see where they stop me. So again, folks, Michigan is a very crucial state. And again, midterms in 2022. So again, these people are linked to QAnon. They're linked to these election conspiracies. They're linked to Mike Lindell. These are all crazy motherfuckers. Trump is giving them all the money in the world, giving them all the press in the world, and he's going to try to take over the U.S. government. Donald Trump is attempting to take over the United States government and control this country as if it were a business. I don't, like, he's trying to become the next CEO of America. And everyone is just going to be like, whatever. Joe Biden, where's Joe Biden on this? Shouldn't Joe Biden? He's the president! He beat Donald Trump! Shouldn't Joe Biden be going on television every day going like, yeah, this loser, fuck baby, cry baby, loser, orange spray tan, son of a bitch, orangutan looking motherfucker is going out there endorsing these fucking psychopaths for Secretary of State. I don't know. You're the fucking president. You beat him. Shouldn't you be doing something? Nah. Joe Biden's approach is, let's ignore it. I love the GOP. Nancy Pelosi's approach, we need a strong Republican Party. Chuck Schumer's approach is, I don't know, put his hands up in the air. I don't fucking know. You'd think Democrats would care about this a little. Open up your inbox. Folks, play along with me. Open up your email. And we all know you're on the DCCC email list. You know, it's in the spam folder. Go look at it. When have you seen the DCCC do fundraising emails for Secretary of State runs and primaries? Never. You never see this. You never see it. All they do is big fundraising for the general funds that they control, the Democratic leadership controls. Right? They do these fucking like Kamala Harris, you know, like the email is from Kamala Harris. Like she wrote this out. She's emailing me personally. We need your help. All hope is lost. You get these DCCC emails? I was considering doing a segment where I just read them. Like I just read, like that's content. Maybe I'll do that. But again, the motherfuckers control the House, Senate, and presidency. Now again, they're not doing much because of the filibuster and right because Manchin and Sinema at least use the bully pulpit. Say, hey, look at what Donald Trump's doing. Are they going to do that? No, because they don't care. And that's why I wanted to talk about this again. Trumpers are going to take over this country if we don't do anything about it. If we continue to do what we're doing right now, that is to say nothing, Trump will be the first CEO of the United States of America, probably in the next 10 years. Like, by the time this decade is over, Trump will be the CEO of the United States of America. You know, just saying, not personally, not interested in that. I have to say, as a democracy enjoyer, not personally interested in that. But apparently not enough people are against it for that to matter, apparently. So, hey, we're fucked. Anyone else having the stream buffering? I don't know why that's happening, but apparently that's happening. Apparently that's a thing. While we're talking about primaries, there are a couple people that care about primaries on the left side of the U.S. government. One of them is Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is weighing in. Bernie Sanders endorses progressive Jessica Cisneros against Democratic Rep. Henry Cuellar in Texas. And so this is a big primary. And Bernie Sanders is giving an endorsement. Now, one of my big problems with Bernie's endorsements in primaries is that he endorses people too late. In my opinion, Bernie should have done this official endorsement a long time ago. Now, I think people think it's a duh. I understand the idea of a late stage endorsement, endorse right before the race, and then people, it's fresh in your mind. But you could also endorse earlier in the race and then do some more endorsements. And you could say, like, I double endorse her, right? So that's my one criticism. I think Bernie needs to endorse people way sooner. That's my opinion. But either way, this is good. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, again, an independent, is doing more work for Democratic Party politics than the leaders of the Democratic Party. Let that sink in. An independent is doing more work for Democrats than the leaders of the party. How is that even possible? Endorsed Jessica Cisneros' bid to unseat Texas Democratic Rep. Henry Cuellar as early voting in the state begins ahead of the March 1 primary election. One of the big reasons why you need to endorse early is fundraising and money. Endorse early, get the fundraising machine going, get these people a fuckload of money, and then endorse again, endorse a third time, endorse a fifth time, do giant campaign route. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this late stage endorsement stuff. I'm just saying. Cisneros, 28, fell narrowly short of defeating Cuellar in a 2020 primary decided by fewer than 3,000 votes. Cuellar, who has represented the district since 2005, is an aggressive critic of the progressive left and last remaining Democrat in the House who has consistently voted against abortion rights. An anti-abortion Democrat. Let that sink in. The Democratic Party machine put their money behind this guy that wants to ban abortion. Think about that. Think about, like, what the fuck? Jessica knows their real change comes from the bottom on up, not the top on down. Whenever Bernie says that, I always have that first 2020 campaign ad where he starts off by saying this phrase here. This is one of his favorites. Remember his first 2020 campaign ad where he starts off and it's like, oh my God. Anyway, Sanders said in a statement, "She will fight for the working class in Congress, and together we will build a movement to transform this nation so that it works for all of our people." The race took a twist in mid-January when the FBI launched searches of Cuellar's home and campaign headquarters in Laredo. The specific purpose of the raids remains unclear, but Cuellar has said the investigation will show that there was no wrongdoing on my part and would not deter him from seeking another term. Let me be clear, blah, 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 fuck him. Sanders has also endorsed Cisneros over Cuellar 2 years ago. Since then, Cuellar has emerged as a vocal adversary of leading out of fuck him. Cisneros, in a statement, welcomed Sanders' support. We're taking on Cuellar's Republican corporate backers with a positive vision for South Texas, which includes delivering on Medicare for all, reproductive freedom, and good-paying union jobs. Ocasio-Cortez campaigned over the weekend for Cisneros and Democrat Greg Kasser, who is running in the 35th Congressional District primary. I don't know who they are. Maybe I'll look into them. Its current representative, Democratic Rep. Lloyd Doggett, is seeking a shift to the newly created 37th District. Cuellar ripped Ocasio-Cortez. Who cares? Fuck Cuellar. Ocasio-Cortez fired back in a tweet saying, "Did you know that Cuellar is an anti-choice Dem in a state where women and LGBTQ repro rights are under attack? District has only gotten bluer, too. It's 2022. We don't really have to settle for rock bottom." So, yeah. So, AOC doing a good job there. Fuck this guy. If you live in the district, do some campaigning. Phone bank. If you don't live in the district, do some campaigning. It's important stuff. So, again, primary elections are extremely important when it comes to electoral politics. If you're going to be talking about electoral politics and you're not talking about primary elections, you are wasting everyone's time. It's that simple. So, good on Bernie, good on Jessica, and good on AOC, and bad on this Cuellar guy. Yes, Sinquil. I literally just read it. Rewind. I'm not trying to be rude, by the way, but it literally just happened. I literally. All right, folks. I'm gonna do one more segment here, and then we'll wrap up. And once again, folks, I want to say thank you all for watching today's stream. Again, share the show. Tell your friends. Maxie! Max! Max! This dog's having a nightmare. Yes. So, tell people to watch my program. And if you don't, that's a problem. Anyway. So this is interesting. I don't know about this yet, so I'm going to be looking into this more in the future. But we're going to do a read-along here, and we're going to talk about this. what the USPS overhaul bill means for you. So apparently there's a USPS overhaul bill. This is the first I'm hearing of it. And again, I will definitely follow this. For those of you that don't know, one of my side hustles is I run an eBay store. So I'm very familiar with USPS. This affects me. So it's, a portion of my income on a monthly basis is connected to the USPS. When Donald Trump installed that, what was that fucker's name? What was his name? I forget his name. Throughout his, what was his name? I don't know. But anyway, when they installed that guy and he fucked up the USPS, DeJoy, that's it. Fucked up the USPS. That affected me because I had people complain to me, like, why is my package like, hey, it's not me. What do you want me to fucking, like, get on my fucking bicycle and, like, I can't do that. The fact that Joe Biden still hasn't gotten rid of him is a testament to the lack of any possible awareness for actual living, like, people that operate in this society or caring at all about anything. The fact that DeJoy is still in there, what the fuck? Right, but anyway, so apparently there's a USPS overhaul bill. Now, again, the real question is, does this mean anything? Will it get past the filibuster? Let's find out. A sweeping bill that would overhaul the U.S. Postal Service's finances and allow the agency to modernize its service is riding a wave of rare bipartisan support. That does not seem to be a good thing, in my estimation. If Republicans are doing something to change the USPS, it's probably not a good thing. That's my instinctual gut reaction, but let's continue. After clearing the House 342 to 92 last week, the legislation is headed to the Senate, where Majority Leader Chuck has vowed to push for a vote this week. Okay. House Oversight and Reform Chair Carolyn Maloney, a New York Democrat who sponsored the legislation in the House, said in a statement, historic bipartisan vote brings us one step closer to... Okay, what exactly is in the bill? What's in the bill? The Postal Service Reform Act would require retired postal employees to enroll in Medicare when eligible, while dropping a previous mandate that forced the agency to cover its healthcare costs years in advance. That's good. For those of you that don't know, the USPS, for whatever reason, has to pay like all of these pensions and all these services for the workers after retirement. They have to pay them all in advance for whatever reason. This was done under the Bush administration as a way to destroy the USPS and promote private enterprise like FedEx and UPS and stuff like that. Those two measures would save the USPS nearly $50 billion over the next decade, according to House Oversight Committee. The legislation would also require the USPS to create an online dashboard with local and national delivery time data. That sounds good. Now, again, there's no specifics here, but that sounds good. Okay? Why are the USPS's finances so dire? Established in 1775, folks. Before the USPS is older than the US. Think about that. It is older than the country itself. Established in 1775 to promote the free exchange of ideas. By the way, like, the fact that this is in blue is hilarious. Like, what does that go to? Okay, that's a whole article. To promote the free exchange of ideas. I mean, if that's the case, Dave Rubin should be a huge fan of the USPS, but he's not for whatever reason. Across the colonies, the Postal Service is among the country's oldest governmental institutions. Again, it's not even the country's oldest government institution. It's older than the government. Yet it operates with few of the financial benefits of being a federal agency while still bearing many of the costs. Unlike other government agencies, the USPS generally does not receive taxpayer funding, and instead must rely on revenue from stamps and package deliveries to support itself. What? And unlike private courier services such as UPS or FedEx, the USPS does not get to set its own prices or excise unprofitable routes. Instead, Congress sets the postage rate and stipulates that the Postal Service delivers to all homes in America, which is good. It needs to go to all homes. Again, that's one of the major problems with FedEx, UPS, and all that kind of stuff is sometimes they'll say, we don't really deliver to your house. You got to come pick it up at our store. What? Fuck that. Including a remote community in the Grand Canyon where the mail is delivered by mule. By mule. What the fuck? Whoops. Most recently, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy said I don't care what he has to say. DeJoy said last year that fuck him. Fuck DeJoy. How has low funding hampered the USPS? Yeah, it fucked it. Things are delayed. There's no such thing as overnight anymore. There's no such thing as next day delivery. 2-day delivery no longer exists. Let's be honest. Does the bill go far enough to address the USPS's challenges? I just want to give a little personal story. I had, I had a very vital package that needed to be sent to me. 2-day shipping was paid for. It took 5 days to arrive. 2-day shipping was paid for. 2-day shipping was, like, money was spent on the idea that it would arrive in 2 days. It took 5 days to arrive. So, just throwing that out there. What the fuck? Does the bill go far enough to address the USPS's challenges? While lawmakers from both parties have hailed the legislation as an important step for the USPS, Postal Service expert at the Lexington Institute told CNN it doesn't nearly go far enough. No bill ever goes far enough. That's what we need to understand here. But the bill is woefully insufficient because it does nothing to improve mail service, which is, again, one of the key factors here. It takes the pressure out of the Postal Service to better understand and reduce its costs, and it doesn't sufficiently empower the Postal Regulatory Commission, which right now is very small and has very tiny resources compared to the Postal Service. So again, that's one of the big things that we need to fix, is the actual mail service. Now again, fixing internal funding issues will lead to slightly better service outcomes, but we need explicitly better service. Think about it. What does this bill mean for mail-in ballots in future elections? Why do we even need an efficient USPS? Why do we even need an efficient, the fact that people even, because almost all Americans still rely on it at different times for important businesses, correspondence, anyone that wants to replace the USPS with anything else is a fuckwit. Ignore anything and everything that they've ever said on anything. Ignore it because they're garbage. Mail remains very important. Of course it's important. And then there's a lot of blank space here for some reason. What the fuck? Why is there so much blank fucking space? Look at the bar on the right. Look at this. See that bar? See the scroll bar? Look at this. Look at this. There's a lot of blank space here. What the hell is going on? But anyway, let's see. We need more, right? But any improvement to the USPS, considering the constitution of this government right now, with the filibuster and anything, I'll have to look more into this bill. Right? But anything is better than nothing. And now I know that phrase is problematic. I understand. But given the filibuster, given the way this government works at this current moment in time, assuming this bill doesn't have any secret bullshit, which it very well might if Republicans are supporting it in any capacity, very well might have some bullshit in it. Assuming it doesn't, or the bullshit is minimal, or the good shit overweights the bullshit, USPS needs significantly more funding, and we need to uninstall DeJoy. DeJoy should go to jail, honestly. He should go to jail for what he's done, but that's a whole different story. But again, we'll see how this goes. I paid for 2 days shipping from New York for a plant. I got it 2 weeks later. It traveled the coast from NYC to NC to Vermont 3 times, and the plant has been in recovery for 8 months. How is that even possible? I don't even know how that's fucking possible. What? What if I said replace the USPS with free food and sex forever program? I'm down with that. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Anyway, folks, that's the show. I hope you've enjoyed the program today. I've enjoyed the program today. Again, folks, maybe I'll do a survey. I think, it was, I did a survey at the end of 2021. I think is when I did it. I don't know. I did a survey. Maybe I'll do another survey this week. In fact, let me write that down. Let me make sure that I do that. I'm gonna type on my keyboard here, folks. Maybe I'll do a survey. Do another survey. I want to get more audience input on stuff. So again, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. This is a programmatic experience, an experience like no other that revolves around a program. And again, what other show online are you going to get someone lecturing you about eating vegetables, and then also we're going to talk about primaries and the downfall of U.S. democracy? Only show in the world. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's be legitimate here. There is no other show where this happens. Again, folks, watch my video game videos. I've been getting back into speedrunning. For those of you that don't know, and by that I mean everyone. I used to be a world famous speedrunner, folks, a video game speedrunner. I don't actually run. Well, I do run sometimes. I've run from police on numerous occasions. But world famous. I was famous around the world. And I'm getting back into it. So feel free to watch those videos or don't, but you should. You should. I'm going to give you a little secret, folks. YouTube monetization. All of my videos from Above It All are demonetized because I swear. My video game videos are monetized because there's no commentary, there's no F-bombs. Now, again, there's guns, like Doom. I play Doom and Wolfenstein. Like, there's Nazis on screen and guns and killing people, but it's in a video game, right? So they're monetized. I'm just throwing this out there. Watch my video game videos. Like, they're good. Like, they're entertaining. I would like to get people into my hobbies. I want people to enjoy what I enjoy if possible. And it would be great if you would support the show by watching them, leaving comments on them. You know, I would appreciate that if you would do that. And if you don't, then that's fine. It's all good. I'm just giving you more information. You're still famous with Icky and his crew. I haven't seen Icky in like a year. Where is Icky? Are you Icky? Do you know Icky? That's a weird statement. I need more info. You need to give me more info. But anyway, that's going to be the show for today. Tomorrow I'll be back at 10 a.m. And thank you for watching. Isn't it just the first minute and a half of whatever? See, Catherine, yes, that is one of the criteria. That is one of the criteria, yes. One of. So, like, if I were doing, like, sometimes my movie review videos are monetized, right? Well, when's the last time I've been mentioned? Non-applicable. You got to give me the scoop. You got to tell me. If you ever hear anyone else talk about me ever at all, you have to tell me immediately. Like, send me an email. I was at the coffee shop and someone talked about Above It All. You know, I was checking my mail and I heard someone talk about your Doom speedrun. You got to let me know. Every time. 100% of the time. No exceptions. But yeah, so sometimes my movie reviews are monetized. If I don't say fuck in the first 30 seconds, it's not the first minute and a half. I believe it's the first 30 seconds. Officer Down videos never monetized. But again, there's other keywords. Like, you know, it's an algorithm, right? So. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I have to pee, so the show's over. And feel free to leave me positive replies and comments. Send me messages of positivity. I would like that. And that's the show. So goodbye.
I admit to always improving.
You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is. Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
Tweet. That was an opinion of somebody.
I eat extra sharp. That's what I eat.
It's not they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear word.
The reason the market is doing what it's doing is this fair share is a bullshit concept. And this fair share is a bullshit concept. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people. It's just a way of attacking wealthy people, attacking wealthy people, attacking wealthy people.
The world is actually a small piece of the universe, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and fighters for freedom and liberty and the American dream, the best is yet to come.
They're coming all over the place.